Hey everybody, how are you? It's Julie Badius with J. Marie Fitness, CNY. I have a couple of great tips today regarding your wrists and your ankles. All you'll need is really a towel. If you have a foam roller, any foam roller will do, even a pillow, anything like that. This is what I'm going to be using, is just a simple foam roller and a towel to go over some little exercises that you can do to strengthen your wrists and ankles. Why is this important? The wrists and the ankles take so much blunt force from everything we do, daily activities. Little things like opening up a can, brushing our hair, getting up off the couch from seated to standing position, that's ankles, any type of balancing, your ankles are in there. They're working. Any type of wrist movement, when you're on the computer, when you're writing, anything, those are all little muscles in there that are working their butts off. Tendons and all sorts of things. Now, I personally am dealing with carpal tunnel in both hands. I've got some great wrist guards that I use when I work out, and I have regular ones that I do not have on, obviously, for the purpose of this video. That being said, this made me do some more research. Now, I am a gymnastics coach, and we do this all the time with the girls for wrists and ankles because we realize how important it is. A lot of times, trainers, such as myself, forget, we want to build quads, we want to build the hammies, the big muscles, the back muscles, the arm muscles, chest, but we forget about the wrists and the ankles. So let's get started. Before we do get started, however, make sure that you check with your doctor if you have any ailments or anything else. Please get that checked out, and don't do this or any of my other videos or any video if you have any other injuries or things that you need to check with your doctor with first. So please do so. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our wrists. Okay, so like I said, all you need is a simple towel. Keep it simple, nothing more, nothing less. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to hold the towel out in front of us, and we're just simply going to twist. Let me show you. Hopefully you can see it a little bit. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to keep the wrists as straight as possible, and I'm going in a slow motion, and I'm just doing this up to 20 is what I do. But you guys can do 8 to 12 reps a couple times a week just to strengthen this area of your arm out. It takes a lot. Think about everything it does every day. Turning doorknobs, anything. Okay, so let's get on to the next exercise. Okay, a simple tennis ball. That's another thing you can use. We can do some ball squeezes. If you don't have a tennis ball, maybe you could borrow one. I did neglect to mention that first things when I talked about the towel and the foam roller, but that's okay. If you have this is great. If you do not have it, you can still kind of do it yourself without a ball. But what we're doing is ball squeezes. So typically I usually have like a squishier ball too. So if you have a squishy ball, like a stress reliever, one of those stress balls, those are great to have. Otherwise, a tennis ball for right now, for purposes of what I'm doing. And all I'm doing is squeezing. So I'm going to do that with both hands, and I'm just going to squeeze. That's, again, building up a little bit of those little muscles. The grip, they use a lot of force when they're trying to grip. And sometimes we lose that as we get older. As we get older, things start to deteriorate a little bit. So we need to build a lot of that back up. So just do that again, 8 to 12 reps. I'm going to put all of this down below so you guys can check that out and do this on your own time as well. But that's just another one. So far you've got your towel rings. Basically it's like wringing out a towel. You've got your ball squeezes. Now let's do another one. Okay, the last wrist one I have for you today. Now, there's several more out there, but what I'm going to do is basically instead of bicep curls, we're doing wrist curls, okay? You can use a low weight if you have even weighted like gloves, like 1 pound, something like that. You want to keep it really, really low. I'm not doing any weight. Again, I'm dealing with some carpal tunnel issues, so I don't want to push any more than I need to. So what you're going to do is just, like I said, it's simply like a bicep curl. So you're going to keep your wrist straight. Now that is the biggest thing you need to make sure you're doing. When you're doing any type of activity, side note, you need to keep your wrist straight. And that's a lot of things, especially I lift a lot of weights. I have used to have a lot of clients that I used to have to tell, you need to keep everything straight. A lot of us don't think to do that. A lot of us also sleep kind of like this. That's probably where my problem is. So your wrist is constantly like this, where it needs to be like this. So we're going to strengthen that back up. So what you're going to do in the curl is you're just going to, again, hold out in front of you, and you're going to go up and down. So you're getting some flexion and extension in there. And you're just going to, again, 8 to 12 reps. Go through it twice, and then do it maybe 2 times a week. That's all you need to do, and you could do that sitting at your desk. So just up and down. So I'm keeping everything straight, up and down. And make sure that you're going slower, okay? I always have to tell the girls, they're doing this. They're doing, they're trying to just get things done. You really need to go slow, because you have to make those muscles work, and that way they get a little bit stronger. So that's the wrist section. Let's talk about some ankles. Hey guys, okay, we're back. Now we're talking about ankles. They do a lot of work, simply walking, simply going upstairs, anything that you do in your daily life. Your ankles, again, are another factor. They keep everything stable. So when you guys are working out, when you're doing your squats, when you're doing any type of movement, those ankles have to engage and help you out. Just like your core and everything else, the whole body works together. So I've got my foam roller. What I'm gonna do is, there's a couple things here. Now again, you don't need the foam roller. You can certainly do this sitting in a chair, or even with a pillow. I've got a ton of poops around my house, anything like that, but this is probably gonna be a little too soft. I like the foam roller or something a little bit more stable, just to keep the calf and everything in line. So what I'm gonna do for my first ankle exercise is I'm gonna do some dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. So dorsiflexion is when it's coming towards you and you're pulling your toes towards your shin, whereas plantar flexion, you're kind of going the other way, you're stretching everything back out. Now, you can do both at once, or you can do one at a time, whatever you want to do. Another thing you can do is, if you happen to have a loop, you can also hold the loop if you want to be more advanced, if you're able to do this, and you can do the same exercise I'm about to show you with the loop. You're just adding a little bit more resistance on there to help you out. Okay, so pretty simple. All you're going to do is you're going to flex the feet, and then you're going to point your toes. Flex, point. Okay, that's it. A simple exercise. You can even do at your desk. If you sit all day, this is something you can be doing, and you can just get those ankles going. As I mentioned, you can do dorsiflexion and plantar flexion type workouts, ankle curls if you want to call them that, that's fine, with a band, and you can even try to push them a little, your feet farther apart so there's resistance. I'm feeling it in the side of my leg and in my glute med, let me tell you, even my hamstrings. So you can even do it that way. Another great exercise is, if you guys can see my feet, is I can go this way, in and out as well. That is another thing. Again, you want to do 8 to 12 reps, 2 times through, about 2 times a week. Let's get on to the next exercise for your ankles. Another great ankle workout that's very simple is just simply saying your alphabet. So all you're going to do is you're going to draw the alphabet. Capital letters, lowercase. If you want to do a completely different language, that's cool too. You're just going to do the whole alphabet, basically writing the alphabet with your big toe. So your whole ankle is moving. So there's C, D, hopefully you know your alphabet, E, F, and you're going to want to do obviously both ankles. Maybe that's what you do to finish. That's usually what I do, is you just do the alphabet at the end of your little wrist and ankle workout, and you'll be good to go. One last one. This is simple, and you can do this when you have, if you guys are sitting all day, let's just back that up a little bit. If you're sitting all day, please make sure you're standing up, you're walking around, whether you're going to grab a cup of water, a cup of coffee, whatever, you need to stand up. Your hip flexors are going to get really, really tight if you're constantly sitting all day. That can be back pain and all sorts of different things that can happen. So that being said, I know I always go off on a tangent, but calf raises can be done while you're sitting there reading something on your computer. If you're on your computer all day, maybe you have documents you need to read or proofread. So you could be doing a lot of these ankle ones while you're sitting there reading, but also calf raises are so simple. And all you're gonna do, let me back up a little bit, is you're gonna go up on your toes, hold, and come down. Now, the idea is not to smack your heel back down. You wanna kind of keep that heel up if you can the whole time. And again, you're gonna do 8 to 12 reps. It's very simple. Then you can turn out. I always tell the girls we look like penguins this way, and you can do it this way as well. And you're gonna feel a little different part of your calf. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to engage, which is also ankle muscles as well. So you're gonna do 8 to 12 of each of those. And then you can even do pigeon if you want to. Same idea. Just make sure you're holding a little bit and coming back down. I hope this has helped with ankles and wrist strengthening. And we're gonna get into some stretching here in just a little bit. There are several different ways to stretch your wrists and ankles. As important as it is to strengthen them, just like with any muscle, you need to stretch as well, okay? So for wrists, you can simply hold down, your fingers push them down a little bit. That way you're gonna feel it right in here. All the muscles are all of a sudden, oh, that's so much better. So do that, hold it for maybe 20 seconds. If it really hurts, if something's really bothering you, stop and possibly get that checked out. But this, and then you're gonna flip your hand over and you're gonna do the same thing and just kind of gently pull down, and then you're gonna feel it on the top. This is gonna help stretch the wrist area as well as your forearm. And so do that obviously with both. Feels pretty good to me. You can also do this and just kind of loosen them back up, roll them around. A bigger, deeper stretch is getting down on the ground, and you can actually push down on your palms, your hands. So you're just kind of not putting a lot of pressure, but enough just to get that stretch. And then you can come this way as well and just rock a little bit, stretch it all back out. And as far as calf muscles go, let's do that over there. Calf stretches, those are very important. Now, I will show you downward dog in just a minute where you're walking things out. If any of you yogis are out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have a stable surface, a wall typically, I always use parts of my fireplace because it's right here. And all I'm gonna do is I'm basically pushing my toes up against, and I'm just gonna lean forward a little bit, and I'm gonna get that stretch right in that major calf muscle right here. And I'm just gonna hold it for 20 seconds or so, come back out of it, do the other one, and you just wanna lean enough to get that stretch. Okay, let's do a calf stretch that not only stretches the calves, but is a bonus for your hip flexors. So you're just gonna step forward, step the other leg back. You're going to take the back heel and you're gonna push it down on the ground. You're going to take your hips and make sure they're tucked under, and you're just gonna kind of push your hips forward a little bit. You should feel a stretch in your hip flexor, but also in the back of your calf. And I would just hold that for just a little bit, just again, maybe 20, 30 seconds, longer if you can, if you feel the need to. And then you're just gonna switch sides, same thing. Just make sure your hips are tucked under and you're pushing your hips forward. You should really feel that right there as too. That's a great bonus, especially once again, if you guys are sitting a lot during the day in an office chair or anything like that, it's great to do these as well. Okay, so let's do a little downward dog calf walking. Basically, you're walking the legs in downward dog. It's a great stretch for even the hamstrings, pushes everything out, your lats, everything kind of gets into place. You're just gonna come down on the ground and plank. You're gonna push back like you're pushing the floor away from you. Your palms are down. And what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing my heels, let me walk forward, down on the ground. Okay, so you're kind of like in a big V. And then all I'm gonna do is bring them closer together, and I'm just simply going to walk. So I'm really stretching those calf muscles. Thanks so much for joining me. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. That way you can get more tips and tricks. If there's anything you guys have that you want a topic to go over or anything like that, feel free to drop that in the comments below. Also, I am so glad you're here. Get those wrists and ankles nice and strong, and I hope to see you guys again. Thanks again.